Borderlands was a big old piece of trash.
What's up, and welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be taking a look at how bad the Borderlands movie has really hurt this franchise. As if you haven't seen or somehow haven't heard, this adaptation by Eli... Okay, we'll say movie that's loosely based on Borderlands, because even saying Eli Roth's Borderlands beside the word adaptation seems like a slap in the face to the word adaptation. It has absolutely flopped, and it is currently getting shit on all across the globe, and not by just Borderlands fans either, but by movie critics, as they are not going easy on this film. Whether it be the current Rotten Tomatoes score of 10%, making less than the projected revenue at $18 million for the opening week, or every single site that's been reporting on it talking exclusively about how awful it's doing. If this whole thing has taught us anything though, it's that movies can sometimes make a decent game, but games will rarely make a movie that's worth a damn. Alright, so today I'm going to be breaking down just how, why, and what the Borderlands movie has done to this IP. Because in case you haven't somehow realized, all of these headlines that you've been seeing about this film are not just critics blowing smoke, and it ain't just a couple of fans that like the Borderlands games like myself who are pissed off. It isn't the movie community on YouTube, and it's also not the casual fans of cinema. It's everyone, and we're all in agreement of one thing, that the Borderlands movie shamed this franchise. I tossed up my review a few days ago, so definitely check that out if you haven't already, just so you can see how embarrassing this was to a Borderlands fan of 15 years. And I've been covering this absolute dumpster fire for a while now, even before the release. But man, now that it's actually out there and the world has now been able to see it, day by day it's only gotten worse. But the biggest thing that I wanted to mention today is how the movie is going to negatively affect the Borderlands name, in search results specifically. So if you don't already know, when you now Google the term Borderlands, you will not be met with the game, and instead the movie is now prioritized in the search results. Well, why is that, you might ask? And it's actually a pretty simple answer. It's just because Google search engine optimization will always push movies over video games, which is absolutely horrible, not only for the overall reach of the games, but this is going to affect the content creators as well, because the term Borderlands no longer just refers to a video game anymore. It's now tied directly to this film. Despite every single fan of the games wanting to just forget that this even happened to begin with, let's just say for example that some kid says something to his friend at school about Borderlands. He mentions how awesome it is and how he's got to get it. And then that friend goes home and talks to his parents, maybe gets on the computer, he searches up Borderlands for himself to see what it looks like. And then eventually he is met with these search results instead of the ones about the game. And it doesn't even have to be at school either. That could even be at a workplace scenario. Just two different friends talking about video games together. And then maybe that friend goes home and looks up on his own personal computer, and the same bullshit pops up, right? And maybe he's already heard that that movie absolutely bombed. And yes, that's going to hurt the franchise, because when that friend realizes that it's a game based on that terrible movie that just recently came out, he's probably just gonna laugh and say, "Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that." So that was a big reason for me making today's video, because overall the search has now been flooded with all of this movie shit, right? And meanwhile, anyone who's trying to search anything for Borderlands 1, you're going to have to be way more specific with anything that you're trying to search. And it's just also a disgrace in general that this movie is what comes up under Borderlands when you first search it up. But hey, this is what old Randy wanted, I guess. And with such fan service such as the Borderlands truck, the daughter of Iridia, Roland with no turret, Lilith narration instead of Marcus, caustic sewers, and you know what? I'll just stop there, because this movie was a fucking disaster and a half, and I wouldn't wish this watch upon my worst enemy. And in the middle of all this, Randy just casually teased Borderlands 4. Yeah, I don't really care, to be honest. We have a new spot where people think that Borderlands 4 could be released, but figuring that 2K is already set to show off gameplay for a new Civilization 7, a game that they've been hyping up a lot lately, I seriously doubt that this is going to be BL4, and even if it is one of the surprise games, I will be one of the first ones to say that I was wrong. Just as it sits, there is no need in getting anyone's hopes up with that. I mean, really, what else do you want me to say? We already know that the game has been in development for 6 years from these leaks that I already covered. Mixed with directly after that, and this was before the movie came out, mind you, Randy had already confirmed that BL4 was getting announced soon, which I also talked about. So really, I already talked about all this shit, Randy, so saying it again is just redundant for me. And the way that he just kind of throws up a 4 in one of these tweets to try and deflect the backlash of the movie. And as you probably already know, he was getting very defensive over on Twitter, which has been discussed by many channels. But to keep it short, if you didn't know, he blocked lots of names in the community, such as K6, Paul Tassi, who works over at Forbes, and many, many of others, and a lot of fans.
Somebody's mad.
He would then go on to unblock them and claim that it was some sort of quote-unquote accident, and I definitely am going to have to call bullshit on that one, as it takes 3 different clicks to actually block somebody, and you literally have to click on someone's account to do it. You literally fucking can't block someone on accident. We had Goth going at it with Randy. Baru is apparently making a return after 6 years without editing a single video on YouTube, and it also just goes to show how the community is feeling outside of this whole thing. Like for me right now, I'm just sitting back and enjoying the view. This is exactly what I was trying to warn everyone about with this movie for the last 6 months. It just didn't look like it was going to work. And sure enough, not only me, but the majority of people's worries were indeed confirmed when this absolute shit pile was released on August 8th and August 9th respectively. Now that Randy is still trying to gear up for BL4, it just makes me even less optimistic that the game is going to be handled well, because Randy was also on set for the movie, and he said this movie was going to be great. And yeah, I think that he just needs to cope a little bit harder, because nobody liked this absolute shitter. And unless you walked into this movie and started gnawing on your thumb and licking the popcorn butter off the ground, you probably didn't love this movie either. Even the handful of comments that I've seen on my review that said that they did like it even admit in the same comment that it isn't a great movie, while others, like myself, just see it as the biggest blockbuster flop of the entire year. We'll see if that comes to fruition, but it's damn sure looking like it could be as of right now. With empty theaters across the world, it's only a matter of time before this waste of energy is a DVD in the $5 bin at Walmart or just on another streaming service like Tubi or some shit. Because not even I, a huge Borderlands fan of many, many years, could be happy with this. So I know damn well that most people aren't, which will lead me right into my next video. So, I'll see you guys then. It's time to put Randy on notice, because I think we all can agree on one thing, and I speak for everybody when I say this. Randy Pitchford needs to lose control of Gearbox and the Borderlands IP. I'm not the first to say it, and I doubt I'm going to be the last. Whether it's me or the next person, the embarrassing way the franchise has been handled will forever stain it as it is. So let's not continue that trend, please. And oh yeah, fuck the Borderlands movie.